to get my back blown out in peace. You think I got time to talk about a divorce that's a year old?
The high-profile relationship between Teyana Taylor and Iman Shumpert has reached a definitive and explosive boiling point, thrusting their private turmoil into the global spotlight in a way that few could have anticipated. For years, the couple has navigated a landscape of public adoration and private struggle, often portrayed as a modern blueprint for a powerful, multifaceted partnership. However, a recent confrontation over deep-seated allegations of infidelity has fundamentally shifted the narrative, peeling back the polished layers of their celebrity persona to reveal a core of significant distress. The tension, which had been simmering beneath the surface for months, fueled by whispers, cryptic social media posts, and tabloid speculation, finally overflowed in a moment that was as raw as it was public. This confrontation has left fans, critics, and casual onlookers questioning whether this is the tragic end of a long-term partnership or the beginning of a complex, difficult new chapter defined by Teyana's personal reclamation and her pursuit of emotional autonomy. When Teyana finally chose to confront Iman regarding the betrayal that had long been rumored within the industry and among their fanbase, she did so with a level of intensity and clarity that resonated far beyond their immediate social circle. The cheating accusations, which had previously been treated by many as open secrets or mere tabloid fodder to be ignored, were suddenly brought into the blinding light of day by the person most affected by them. Teyana's decision to take their private issues into the public sphere was not merely a reflexive reaction to a single, isolated event. Rather, it was a calculated response to a pattern of behavior that had become entirely untenable for her mental and emotional well-being. By forcing Iman to face the music in such a visible way, Teyana effectively declared an end to the era of quiet endurance and the ride-or-die mentality that often traps women in cycles of disrespect. The confrontation itself was described by those close to the situation as a masterclass in emotional honesty and feminine power. It was a moment charged with the weight of years of unspoken grievances, missed expectations, and the heavy burden of maintaining a perfect public image while the foundation of the home was crumbling. Teyana didn't just list a series of complaints. She laid out her inherent worth, her non-negotiable expectations for a life partner, and the devastating reality of the pain she had endured while trying to keep their family together. Iman's reaction to this sudden and public reckoning was reportedly one of profound, visible shock. He appeared entirely unprepared for the transparency and the lack of a filter that Teyana brought to the conversation. In the past, many of their disagreements had been handled with a certain level of discretion, but this time the walls had come down. His face reportedly betrayed a mixture of deep-seated guilt and immediate regret as the gravity of his actions, and the fact that they were no longer hidden, was laid bare. As the drama unfolded across various platforms, the ripple effects were felt deeply within both of their extended families, creating a divide that may take years to bridge. Teyana's family, who has witnessed her emotional journey from the beginning, has expressed significant outrage over the betrayal. They have watched the emotional toll the relationship has taken on her from the sidelines, often silenced by her desire to protect her marriage. Now, her parents are determined to ensure she is no longer subjected to these emotional cycles of hurt, and have stepped in as a formidable protective barrier. They offer a foundation of support that stands in stark contrast to the chaos of the public eye, prioritizing her peace over any brand or public relations strategy. Similarly, Teyana's siblings have rallied around her with an intensity that only family can provide. Their protective instincts have been solidified by the public nature of the transgressions, viewing the betrayal not just as a private failing, but as a public disrespect to their sister's character and contributions to the household. On the other side of the divide, Iman's family has maintained a much lower profile, grappling with the fallout in a state of confusion and, in some cases, defensive silence. While some members of his inner circle are reportedly shocked by the specific details of the allegations, others have chosen to remain silent or offer support to Iman behind the scenes, emphasizing his role as a provider or a father while downplaying the relational breach. There have been reports of an emotional breakdown within Iman's camp, as he struggles with the realization that his actions may have permanently fractured the very family unit he claimed to cherish. This internal conflict has created a palpable tension between the Shumpert and Taylor families, forcing everyone involved to take a side in a situation where there is no longer any middle ground or room for staying out of it. For Teyana, this public move was about much more than just an argument or a venting of frustrations. It was a strategic and necessary reclamation of her own story. In the world of high-level celebrity, the narrative of a woman's life is often dictated by rumors, PR teams, and the actions of the men they are associated with. By confronting Iman so directly and refusing to hide the cause of their friction, Teyana took the power back. She chose to be the protagonist of her own life, rather than a victim of his choices, or a silent partner in his indiscretions. This fight for emotional freedom is what the public is currently dissecting with such fervor. The online community remains deeply divided on the methodology, if not the message. Many praise Teyana for her bravery, viewing her public stance as an act of radical empowerment, and a refusal to let a partner's mistakes define her value or her future. They see her as a voice for many women who suffer in silence under the weight of a partner's infidelity. Others, however, question the wisdom of publicizing such intimate, visceral pain, wondering if a private resolution might have been more productive for the sake of their children and their long-term privacy. Regardless of one's stance on the public nature of the fight, the consensus is that Teyana is no longer willing to settle for a life that requires her to compromise her dignity for the sake of appearances. The silence that followed Teyana's powerful words during the confrontation was perhaps the most telling and heavy part of the entire event. It was a silence that spoke volumes about the sheer exhaustion that comes with repeated betrayal, and the cycle of forgive and forget that never actually leads to change. While Iman has offered various forms of apologies and expressions of regret, the general sentiment among the public, and those close to Teyana, is that apologies without radically changed behavior are merely words designed to de-escalate a situation rather than heal a wound. The path forward for the two of them remains shrouded in an almost impenetrable uncertainty. Some fans, clinging to the love story they once believed in, think their history is too deep and their bond too strong to discard. They hope that this public cleansing, this rock-bottom moment, might lead to a true, honest reconciliation and a rebirth of their marriage. However, a growing number of observers speculate that Teyana is already mentally and emotionally looking toward a future that does not include Iman as a romantic partner. There are rumors of her finding solace in her work, her children, and new support systems that value her differently and more consistently than Iman has in recent years. Iman now faces a defining choice that will determine the rest of his life and his reputation. He must either pursue a path of genuine, transparent growth to win back the trust of the woman he hurt and the family he endangered, or he must accept the heavy consequences of his actions and move on into a solitary new chapter. This is not just a matter of saving a marriage, but of personal character and the ability to take accountability when there is no longer any place to hide. The world continues to watch as the dust settles from this explosive event. Teyana's growth, her resilience, and her ultimate healing have become the focal point of the story, completely overshadowing the sordid details of the scandal itself. As she navigates the legal complexities, the emotional fallout, and the social pressures of a public split, her strength serves as a beacon for others who feel trapped in similar situations. The drama is far from over, and as the next chapter begins, it is increasingly clear that the old Teyana, the one who protected the secret at her own expense, is gone. In her place is a woman who is finally, and firmly, writing her own script and demanding the respect she has always deserved. This confrontation was not just an end. It was a loud, clear, and necessary beginning of a life lived in the light of truth.